The Roosevelt Corollary was an addition to the Monroe Doctrine by President Theodore Roosevelt in his State of the Union address in 1904. It was largely as a result of the Venezuela crisis of 1902 to 1903. In late 1902, Britain, Germany, and Italy imposed a naval blockade of several months against Venezuela after President Castro refused to pay foreign debts and damages suffered by European people in the recent Venezuela Liberating Revolution. This dispute was referred to the International Court of Arbitration at The Hague, which concluded on February 22, 1904, that the blockading powers involved in the Venezuela crisis were entitled to preferential treatment and in payment of their claims. This result left a number of other countries which did not take military action, including the United States, with no recourse. The U.S. disagreed with the outcome in principle, and President Theodore Roosevelt saw the need to take action politically. The Roosevelt Corollary went towards ensuring that U.S. interests abroad and those of Latin America would be protected from European powers using rulings from The Hague to get what they wanted. You see, one of the main ways European powers claimed states was to have that state take out a massive loan from the European power, then when that state could not pay back the debt, the European power comes in to collect the debt. Kind of like what China does a lot of today. The Roosevelt Corollary basically said that the U.S. would intervene militarily if European powers meddled in the Western Hemisphere and was consistent with Teddy Roosevelt's foreign policy of gunboat and big stick diplomacy. Roosevelt stated, in keeping that with the Monroe Doctrine, the United States was justified in exercising international police power to put an end to chronic unrest or wrongdoing in the Western Hemisphere by Europeans. U.S. intervention in the Dominican Republic in 1905 was the first use of the Roosevelt Corollary, where the U.S. was able to prevent European powers becoming involved in debt collection via their usual methods, such as blockades. The Dominican Republic defaulted on payments, and European powers threatened to intervene should the U.S. not. In 1905, the U.S. sent warships and demanded the Customs House be turned over to U.S. negotiators who used proceeds to pay foreign creditors. The Roosevelt Corollary gave the U.S. an advantage as they were able to have some control over the internal situations of countries, even if this meant European powers waited longer for their repayments. This model, in which the United States advisors worked to stabilize Latin American nations through temporary protectorates staving off European action, became known as dollar diplomacy. The Dominican experiment, like most other dollar diplomacy arrangements, proved temporary, though. Outgoing President Theodore Roosevelt laid the foundation for dollar diplomacy approach with his Roosevelt Corollary, maintaining that any nation in the Western Hemisphere appeared politically and financially unstable enough to be vulnerable to European control. The United States had the right and obligation to intervene in some way. However, U.S. presidents after Roosevelt cited the Roosevelt Corollary as justification for U.S. intervention in Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic again. Although the main rationale for the Corollary was to keep Europe from meddling in Western Hemisphere, other intentions predominantly of the Wilson administration were hidden to retain the U.S.'s reputation. Dollar diplomacy of the United States, particularly during the presidency of William Howard Taft from 1909 to 1913, was a form of U.S. foreign policy to minimize the use of threat of military force and instead further aim Latin America and Asia through the use of economic power by guaranteeing loans made to foreign countries. Taft continued and expanded this policy starting in Central America, where he justified it as a means to protect the Panama Canal. In March 1909, he attempted unsuccessfully to establish control over Honduras by buying up its debt to British bankers. Another potentially dangerous place for intervention was the revolution-riddled Caribbean. Hoping to head off trouble, Washington urged U.S. bankers to pump dollars into the financial vacuum in Honduras and Haiti to keep foreign funds out. The United States would not permit foreign nations to intervene and consequently felt obligated to prevent economic and political instability in the region. The State Department persuaded 4 U.S. banks to refinance Haiti's national debt, setting the stage for further intervention in the future. Following dollar diplomacy, the good neighbor policy was the foreign policy of American President Franklin D. Roosevelt towards Latin America. Although it was implemented by his administration, President Woodrow Wilson had previously used the term, but as a way of justifying U.S. involvement in the Mexican Revolution and occupation of Haiti for nation building, and to civilize these states according to his policies, which was basically idealism with illusions, which is one of the worst ways to base foreign policy. So, Wilson, you suck. The Good Neighbor policy's main principle was of non-intervention and non-interference in the domestic affairs of Latin America. It also reinforced the idea that the United States would be a good neighbor and engage in reciprocal exchanges with Latin American countries. By the end of World War II, Latin America would be one of the most supportive regions of U.S. foreign policies. Did you know about the Roosevelt Corollary, dollar diplomacy, the horribleness of Wilson's foreign policy, and the Good Neighbor policy before this video? Write in the comments, and thank you for watching.